Matt Le Tissier, this is just ridiculous, is it not?
Dan, I can't believe what we're living through. Honestly, we are living in such Orwellian times that I cannot. It is the most tenuous link, I think. I mean, we've heard some stupid things over the last few years. This has got to be right up there amongst the most tenuous link they've ever tried to try and infiltrate and try and have a go at football clubs. It is just ludicrous, in my opinion.
Weyman, Bennett, you actually disagree with Matt. You think the clubs need to ditch the ships?
Well, I think they need to look at it, and I'll tell you why. One of the things that's happened over the last 20 years, which is something which Matt doesn't understand at all, serious study of the link between science and our own history. The slave ships between Liverpool and Manchester were connected historically. And one of the things is, if you look at the slave masters and the people that were involved in this, take Thomas Thistlewood, who was one of the people who was involved in slavery. He raped over 3,852 women. Not only that, the majority of the attacks were on children. And so my kind of view is... But
Weyman, that's nothing... Weyman, I understand that, but that's not... Can I just clarify? That's nothing to do with the ship on the crest.
No, you have to understand the link between the industrialisation and slavery.
So
right?
we should ban all ships. All pictures of ships should be banned.
The same people that founded many of those things were involved in those crimes. So what we're saying is there's no reason to link the good people of Manchester and working class people who, by the way, oppose slavery inside Manchester, right, to link them with the masters and the rapists and the people that kill people.
It's a picture of a ship. It is a picture of a ship. So are we saying now we cannot use a ship on any logos because you're going to be accused of having connections to slavery?
That would be facetious. That would be facetious.
Well, that's what you're saying.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the Manchester Guardian did a historical search of the link between slavery and different people in Manchester and what they're saying is that those links should be rejected and broken.
Yeah,
and I understand how difficult it is.
But that's not why there's a ship on the crest.
No. I understand how difficult it is because most people go into... When it talks about British history, we go into denial. I mean, you know, and one of the reasons why we go into denial...
Not denying anything.
No. We go into denial because, in some senses, you know, I was one of the first people that opposed Jimmy Savile and said he wasn't a national treasure. Other people defended him. Some people are prepared to speak out. No, but what I'm trying to say, that's not necessarily automatic. Some people would not speak out about it.
The BBC covered up for years. I understand that, but this is a very different situation because this is a crest which has nothing to do with slavery. Look, I want to bring Peter Shilton and we'll get back to you, Weyman, but we've got Peter Shilton. So, Peter, who do you agree with? Are you with Matt or are you with Weyman?
Well, let's just say slavery was terrible and it was quite rightly abolished and racism shouldn't be tolerated in the modern world. So let's put that straight. But I've been doing a little bit of research, actually, and there's no facts to support this at all because I think slavery was abolished, 30 years before Manchester United was formed. Yeah. And there was a lot of, and the badge itself as well. So, there's a big gap there between slavery finishing and what we're talking about. And I do feel that, there's a stigma being attached to Manchester. I mean, even in the history books, they wouldn't, in the American Civil War, and I sound a bit like an historian, but, they wouldn't handle the cotton and risk going to prison. So I think this is the wrong subject, really. A little ship on a badge. I mean, how many other ships are on badges in the UK?
That's my worry, Matt.
Is everything to do with slavery?
And Matt, that's my worry, because do we start to say that we literally cannot use pictures of ships in any logos because you're going to be accused of celebrating slavery?
Well, I wouldn't put it past the Guardian to suggest that at some point, but I'd like to ask Weyman, actually, in nearly 150 years of Manchester United's history, does he know of anybody who has ever come to him and been offended by the ship on Man United's crest or Man City's crest?
Look, to be honest with you, the answer's no. But if you ask me, have people been offended by people's position on Black Lives Matter, taking the knee, supporting anti? No. But you're trying to narrow my answer.
I didn't ask you that. You're putting words in my mouth.
When people have spoken out about racism and discrimination in football, there have been people, including yourself, who've turned around and said, oh, there's no basis for being able to say, like, Black Lives Matter, or try and define it yourself without understanding anything of the history of Black Lives Matter. You spoke up as an expert on it at the time, which isn't true, right? So
I was no expert.
Yes, you.
I was no expert, Weyman.
I think this is the wrong.
Okay, just let Peter come in. Just let Peter come in.
As a professional footballer, Weyman, as a professional footballer, I supported your organisation every single time there was any initiative that was done.
It's the wrong thing. I mean,
Peter, just hold. Peter, just hold up.
The mob pulled out. Sorry, okay. Matt, Don.
Sorry, Peter. I'll come back to you in 1 sec. Matt, you just finish your point, and then we'll bring Peter in.
Yeah, I was just saying, I supported every initiative of Show the Racism the Red Card while I was a professional footballer, supported everything I possibly could. Now, because of the whole Black Lives Matter thing, now I know what you're talking about, I refused to wear the Black Lives Matter badge. That was because I didn't agree with the points of the organisation of Black Lives Matter. That had nothing to do with the fact, you have to separate that from the fact that, of course, Black Lives Matter. Of course they do. But linking it to that organisation, which goes against a lot of my opinions in the world, doesn't make me racist for not wearing a Black Lives Matter badge.
And it's a corrupt organisation, by the way, which we now know. Exactly. Final word to you, Peter Shilton.
Can I just say, Black Lives Matter organisation are over 500 different organisations. There are civil rights organisations, so you can't just condemn everything.
Well, I do condemn the Black Lives Matter organisation because they have used fundraising money to fund mansions in California for its organisers. And so I have an issue with the Black Lives Matter organisation.
You can't condemn the movement calling for equality, and I think one of the reasons why it was condemned because it was anti-racist and it was uncovering history.
No, that's not why I ever condemned it. I condemned it because quite openly the Black Lives Matter organisation called for the overthrow of capitalism, the overthrow of the
history alone. Yeah.
Okay, Peter Shilton, you come in. Okay, just let Peter Shilton make a point. Let Peter make a point.
This has been brought up, I think, to stir
Matt, Weyman, let Peter make his point, please.
Conversation about racism and etc. I don't think it can't be a serious, thing to take up. I think, that it's a way of stirring up racism and the history. History is history, and we're trying to change things, aren't we?
Indeed. We're stirring up division here. I couldn't agree more. And look, thank you for having the debate, the England football legend Peter Shilton and Matt Tissier, and the Stand Up to Racism co-convener Weyman Bennett. Okay. Good. I'm good. Well, I agree. That's something we can definitely agree on, Weyman. Thank you so much. I just don't agree that we shouldn't be able to use pictures of ships. So who do you back here? Should Man U and Man City have to ditch the ship? Because of The Guardian, Elliot on Twitter writes, just because The Guardian's origins may have had a closer association with slavery than they would currently prefer, it doesn't mean everyone does. From Louise on Twitter, when are all of these attempts to eradicate the past going to stop? Who randomly got to decide it as a symbol of slavery? I don't believe it is. And from Polly, slavery was abolished in 1807. Man U was founded in 1878 and Manchester City in 1880, both long after slavery was abolished. And your verdict is now in. Just 4% of you agree with Weyman and The Guardian that Man U and Man City should ditch their famous club crest. 96% of you say they shouldn't. And to be honest, I think that's sort of how the public breaks down usually about anything The Guardian says. Got about 4% of folk who agree. 96% of us think they're talking a whole load of rubbish.